Greetings, everyone. This is Daniel from SK, and we're here with Lukas Schenke, SK sports psychologist. Greetings, Mr. Schenke. How do you do?
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm comparably fine.
So the place where I want to start with is there any difference in preparation when it comes to international events and EULCS weeks?
Yeah, of course, there's a difference between the regions. I think the meta is like always a bit different, and what the picks are is different, and what kinds of comms are played are different as well. So big difference, I would say.
In terms of your specific line of work, like the sports psychologist thing, like is there any difference in the opponents you face? Do you prepare something in specific for example, the Asian teams or the North American teams, or do you face them like any other opponent?
I don't know. Generalizations are hard to do, but I feel like the Asian teams, I always feel like the staff behind it is super professional, and they got like lots of intel in general. I would put it that way, and you could see by the changes that they made in the picks and bans, Joey Flashwolves, compared to the first game. They came up with a new strategy there, and I would put it in that dimension of staff and preparation and being professional about it. So I would say the Asian teams have always an edge over the European and North American teams by default, almost. So you have to try even harder if you want to beat them. And concerning the other part of your questions towards NA teams, it's always easier, at least this is my opinion, I don't know if everybody agrees on that, but it's always easier to face an opponent which you have already faced in the past, because you then have an idea of how, like, when the two teams crash, what are the decising patterns of it actually. And if you play a completely strange team, you're never gonna know, and it's a lot harder to anticipate how the game will go.
You mentioned that the Korean teams have a really professional and really good supporting staff. So is there anything you would like to implement from them? If you could immediately steal something, what would it be, and what would you implement in our team or in Europe in general?
First of all, I would steal all the money they have, because this is like basically the turning point. And the money which is behind it and the know-how of that region, and this comes together and just really makes a big difference, I would say.
Given that SK has had this immense success in the beginning of the season and is still currently retaining the first place, why do you think other European teams have been rather hesitant in employing, or part-time or full-time employing sports psychologists?
I don't know the real reasons, but I can imagine that it's hard to find somebody who is kind of has the background as well from the esports scene and from the academical perspective as a sports psychologist. This match is I think hard to find, so I think this is a reason. I guess, or I think that some other teams are already looking for that. At least I heard rumors.
So we'll move into a more SK-specific area. There are strong personalities within our team. Is it easy to work with them, or not so much? Do they give you a challenge in a sense?
Yeah, each team is always giving a challenge. So I would not say that it's like from time to time it's harder, and yeah, of course, if you're winning, it's always not that hard. But if you're losing, it's always hard. And much of this is connected to the expectations which the players and the team itself generates. So, of course, if you want to aim high, then you get frustrated easier, of course, when you lose. And this goal is like farther and farther away, of course, yeah.
So, with regards to being a sports psychologist, are the expectations upon yourself higher just because you're in a sense unique, because you were one of the first more major ones, more well known, all esports to feature with you? Is there much more pressure on your shoulders than other sports psychologists who are not as well known?
Good question. I don't know a single other one. So I know that there are people who are working in that direction, but I had not the chance to talk to them or something. So I would really like to have an information exchange on that side, because it would interest me like really hard what they think about the entire thing, working with gamers and how to approach that. And my own expectations, I must say, I don't feel that this is a thing which a sport psychologist should bother about, because your job is basically to help the team generate their own expectations, and then you try to help them to reach those expectations. This is how we do it. It's not the other way around.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Schenke. Any final shout-outs?
Well, of course, to all SK fans, I know the fan base is growing and I appreciate that very much. Organization, as always, to our sponsors, thank you very much for the support at IEM Katowice as well. And yeah, I'm sorry if we didn't do that well as you expected. But I must say the Joey Flashwolves, I've got to give it to them. They performed really well, and at the moment I think they're leading against TSM, so it's not like a super hard defeat. They played good as well, so yeah, thank you.
You can check out the rest of our coverage at sk-gaming.com.